You're listening to GWP Live Severe Weather Coverage. It's Wednesday, April 15th, 2026, and it is just a few minutes after the hour, and we are tracking ongoing severe storms across the state of Missouri here. So, we did have some updates since our last live stream, so we want to go ahead and get you to those. One of those is we now have a Okay, we are frozen at this point in time. So that is really great. Experiencing some technical difficulties at this moment. So we will come back to that as quickly as we can. So yes, we apologize for the inconvenience, but we are dealing with some technical difficulties at this point in time. Of course, we did know that this scenario may happen, that the systems may be overloaded just with all of the ongoing severe weather. So instead, we will just talk about what you're looking at here on this map. We'll start off with the tornado warning that was newly issued for Henry County right here, where my mouse is at. Henry County, this is in Clinton, Missouri, is under a tornado warning. This remains in effect for Henry County till 6:15 p.m. At 5:57 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Clinton, moving east at 30 miles per hour. This is a radar indicated rotation, so we don't know if this is on the ground or not. It's not confirmed by radar, but we do know that we might be dealing with a tornado at this point in time. We've also got some small hail across that region as well. In the surrounding area, we also have a severe thunderstorm warning. So you'll notice here on this radar that's frozen that we have a tornado warning here in the red, and then just on the outside of that, we have another severe thunderstorm warning. That severe thunderstorm warning goes for once again Henry County, but it also includes Montrose, and that goes until 6:15 p.m. 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So that's in addition to the possible tornado that we could be dealing with across that area. It looks like that we may finally. Yes, okay, so our screen is no longer frozen, so we're going to take you back to that tornado warning in Clinton, Missouri, Henry County. We're going to see what we've got here, just give you some more information. So yes, radar indicated rotation, and this goes until 6:15 for Henry County. Let's get a scan of the velocity. Okay. So there it is. So yeah, that is a decent rotation. Would not be surprised if this was on the ground, as we do have the reds and the greens. This is showing us the winds up in the atmosphere. So we've got reds going one way and we've got the greens going the other, and where they meet up, that's where we've got our possible rotation. So a possible tornado is ongoing just to the southwest of Clinton. And okay, breaking news here on GWP Live. A confirmed tornado has now been reported just to the southwest of Clinton. At 6:06 p.m., a confirmed tornado was located over Clinton, moving east at 30 miles per hour. So this is breaking news as we are just now back on the air. A confirmed tornado has now been located over Clinton. So if you are in this area or you know of anybody in this area, take shelter or let them know to take shelter. So 6:15 is when this warning expires, but we now have an observed tag with this storm. We now have confirmation that a tornado is in progress just on the southern end, if not in Clinton itself. So as of 6:03, our radar showed us that this is where our couplet was. That's where we had that rotation that was taking place in the atmosphere. And now we have confirmation that that rotation in the atmosphere is reaching the ground. So on the south side of Clinton at 6:03, we knew that there was a tornado on the ground. And again, there still could be at this point in time. So let's see, we just had a new scan on the radar that came in at 6:05. So again, this is when it was confirmed right over Clinton at this point in time. So this is what we call a radar confirmed tornado. We know based on the rotation, based on the debris, if we had a debris tracker, we would also be showing you the different debris that is being lofted into the air. But this is now a radar confirmed tornado in Henry County, just right over Clinton proper. So Clinton is currently under a tornado warning until 6:15. It goes for Henry County, and we have a confirmed tornado by radar until 6:15 across this region. So confirmed tornado in progress across Clinton in Missouri with a tornado warning continuing for the next 6 minutes. So that is currently what we are dealing with. So again, take shelter in the lowest floor of a building, in the most interior room of that lowest floor. That's where you need to take shelter because that is going to be your safest option during a tornado. Mobile homes are not safe. Cars are not safe being on the road. We also try to avoid big open spaces like auditoriums or gymnasiums or stadiums or just any sort of indoor venue. Those would be very dangerous to be in as well because the roofs can collapse when you have such a large space. So that, of course, is a really big concern as well. So again, you want to get to preferably a basement or a storm shelter. That is going to be the recommended place to go to. Or if you don't have one of those, go into a closet that's away from windows. A bathtub is also a good place as well. So you'll want to do that right now if you are in Henry County because you are currently experiencing a tornado that has now been confirmed in a, I wouldn't necessarily say populated, but more populated than its surroundings town of Clinton, Missouri. I believe there's about 5,000 people that live in Clinton. It might be a little bit less or more. Let's see, Clinton, Missouri is all right, so actually a little bit bigger than I thought. It is 9,400 people. 9,400 people are currently dealing with a tornado, and really that just includes Clinton. So these other areas outside of that are also experiencing this tornado warning as well. So something that we'll be watching for. Let's go to the velocities as we have a new update. It is very likely that this tornado is still in progress now on the northeast side of Clinton. It's now moving towards Highway 52. So if you're in Highway 52, you'll want to make sure to take shelter immediately. Just to the northeast, we have Calhoun. This is all part of Henry County. Yeah, this is all Henry County right in here. And so on the northeast side of Henry County, here's the county line. We've got Windsor and Calhoun. Calhoun and Windsor are currently not under this warning, but if the tornado continues on a northeasterly track, it is going to begin to move towards Windsor. And the difficult part about this particular tornado warning in itself is I want to show you a couple of things here. So this is where let me do a better drawing of that. This is where our rotation is at. This is likely where our tornado is if we have one in progress, which again, radar confirmed tornado is pretty accurate in itself. The problem is if we go to the radar, this is potentially a rain wrapped tornado, which means you will not be able to see it coming before it hits you. And so that's what makes it very dangerous. A lot of people in the state of Missouri tend to, go outside, try to get a nice picture of a tornado. We do not recommend doing that because again, at this point in time, you may not be able to see the tornado coming until it is on top of you. Now, the other thing about that is some people say, well, I'll be able to hear it coming. And that is true. In most situations, you will know if a tornado is about to come in just based on the sounds. Again, it's been compared to a freight train by many people who have been close to tornadoes before. And that is true. Most of the time you can. But there are some situations where there's so much rain that is reaching the surface that it acts as a shield to that sound that's coming from the tornado. And so it can muffle the sound a little bit. So if you are in this area, it's very well possible that you may not actually see it coming for the one reason in particular of the fact that it may be muffled by all of the rain and storms that you have in the surrounding area. So again, please take shelter if you are near the Clinton area. Also, if you're in Lewis, just to the northeast of Clinton, because you are next in line, Calhoun is under a severe thunderstorm warning. You should definitely be prepared. You're not under the tornado warning yet, but you very well could be very soon. And so you'll want to make sure to do that as well. And then Windsor. And okay, breaking news. We just had a new tornado warning that was issued, and we still have a radar confirmed tornado. Storm chasers also confirmed a tornado. So now it is not just radar confirmed, it has now been confirmed by storm chasers. So storm chasers have now confirmed a tornado on the ground northeast of Clinton, and we now have an extension. So the tornado warning has now been issued for northeastern Henry County and southwestern Pettis County. So we've now extended this warning further to the northeast into Calhoun and Windsor as well under this warning. And then let's see, the warning goes to a small village called Bryson. Bryson appears to be the cutoff for this particular warning. The warning extends to a little bit right in here. That's about where the warning goes. So we still don't have it. It hasn't popped up yet, but it kind of goes here and then it does like this right here. That's where the tornado warning is. The new one that goes in effect until 6:45. We will probably soon see. There it is. Okay. Oh, look at that. Drawing's not too bad. I don't have too bad of drawing skills. It's pretty accurate. All right. Yes, I believe that the live stream disconnected for a time being. So apologies for that technical problem that we just had. So it looks like we just had a bit of a connection issue there for just one moment, but we are back here and we are still tracking a brand new tornado warning that has been issued in Henry and Pettis County here. And we have a confirmed tornado on the ground from some storm chasers. So here it is, Henry and Pettis County under a tornado warning until 6:45 p.m. At 6:10, a tornado-producing storm was located near Clinton, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. So this tornado is not moving very fast, which is good to some degree because that gives you more time to prepare for this storm. But that also means if you hear lots of rain and thunder nearby, that means that the tornado is probably still behind you because there's just such a large area again, it's moving so slowly. So that is something that that we're going to be watching for. So again, Clinton, Windsor, Calhoun, Cole, Tightwad, and Truman Lakes. Interesting names here with Missouri towns. Those are the areas that are under this tornado warning that goes in effect until 6:45. And again, this tornado warning is much more serious than an ordinary tornado warning in the sense that it is for an ongoing tornado. It's not that we might have a tornado. We know that there is an active tornado that is moving across Henry County and that will soon be crossing over towards Windsor and into southwestern Pettis County. And this is all to the southwest of Sedalia. So that's where this storm is at. We also know that we could be looking at some hail with this storm as well as some winds. So again, take shelter if you are in that area. All right, now we want to go ahead and we want to go to some of the other warnings that we are dealing with at this point in time. Again, as we mentioned, we did have that flash flood warning still goes in effect for Barton and Jasper County, as we've already had some heavy rainfall across that region. That goes till 11:45, so make sure to be careful if you're out on the roadways with that storm. Then we have a newly issued severe thunderstorm warning that now goes in effect for Cherokee County and Kansas, but for our area, we've got Barton, Newton, and Jasper County in Missouri under this warning until 7:15 p.m. So, till 7:15 at 6:07 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Carl Junction, or 7 miles northwest of Joplin, moving east at 35 miles per hour. Hazards with this storm include 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. This is a radar-indicated threat, so we don't have confirmation, but again, there is the possibility that we are looking at some ongoing flooding and maybe even some 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. This area has already had lots of rainfall. We also already had a hailstorm move through this area just less than an hour ago, and then now it appears that we could be looking at another one. And so you'll notice the bulk of the hail from this storm is just to the west of Galena, very close to where we had the hail earlier today. And that's going to continue to be moving east, kind of to the northeast as well. So Joplin, Oronogo, and Carthage, you are next in line to look at 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. There's where we've got that hail core. Let's look at the velocities here. And okay, so the strongest winds at this time appear to be right in here around Galena, just to the west of Joplin. Yeah, so just to the west of Joplin, right around there in Galena, that's where we have this Boeing segment. So that is likely where we could be experiencing some 60-mile-per-hour winds. Okay, let's see. Is that a hook echo? Somewhat of one. Definitely not a super strong one, but let's see. Do we have some rotation? Let me go to the velocities on that. That looks a little bit suspicious. We don't have a super strong rotation, but we do have a little bit of rotation in here. So we don't have a tornado possible tag, but I would say in the next 5 or 10 minutes, if this starts to come together a little bit more, if this couplet begins to tighten, it's very well possible that we could get a funnel cloud in this area. I'm very confident that we don't have a tornado here at this time, but we could have a funnel cloud trying to develop just to the west of Orinoco. So again, we do have this straight line damaging wind that's moving through, and then we've also got potentially maybe even a little bit of rotation in the atmosphere as well. Um, okay, so it kind of went away on that latest scan, so I'm not seeing that anymore. But there for a moment, there was a little bit of rotation just to the west of Orinoco. But right now, looks like we're just dealing with some 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. But I guess just dealing with that is definitely not really the appropriate term for that. Again, doesn't really do it justice here, as we are seeing some very heavy rain and potentially some damage from some of the hail and wind that we're picking up across this region. All right, now let's go ahead and go to the north. Again, we've still got our tornado warning until 6:45. Let's see if we have any updates on that. Okay, still no updates. Again, the latest was at 6:10 that there was an observed tornado just to the northeast of Clinton, so we're still watching that very closely. Then we've got another storm that is now severe warned just to the south of our tornado warning. Let's take a closer look at that here. This goes for St. Clair and Vernon counties. This is northeast Vernon County and west central St. Clair County until 7:15. At 6:09 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located over Shell City, or 9 miles north of El Dorado Springs, moving east at 40 miles per hour. Hazards with this one include 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts as well as quarter-size hail. This is a radar-indicated threat. Hail damage to vehicles is expected, and then wind damage to roof siding and trees. Locations impacted for this include Truman Lake, Appleton City, Osceola, Lowry City, Shell City, as well as into Johnson City and Harper. So those areas, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, again, for the possibility of 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. There is also a tornado possible tag with this storm, so it may be a good idea to be at least considering of taking shelter in your tornado safe location, because again, there is a tornado possible tag with this particular warning that goes in effect across St. Clair and Vernon counties in southwestern Missouri. So let's go ahead and we'll go to the velocities and we'll see if there is any rotation on this particular storm. And yes, so we do have a little bit of rotation, but it's very broad at this point in time. And anytime it's kind of stretched out like this, kind of more like an elongated shape, that indicates that it's not very strong. And so at this point in time, there very well could be some rotation happening in the atmosphere, maybe even a funnel cloud, but I would say that we definitely don't have a tornado at least yet. But it is very well possible that we could within the next 15 minutes or so. And so we want to watch that very closely. So again, tornado possible tag with the severe thunderstorm warning. That's the area of concern that we're watching for. That is just to the west of Osceola and just to the southwest of Lowry City. And then it looks like we have north of US 54. So again, this is in northeast of Vernon County. Nevada is currently not under this warning, but it does include part of the county that Nevada is in. So it's part of northeastern Vernon County, but mostly St. Clair County. St. Clair County is the main area that is under this current warning. So again, tornado possible tag. We notice that there is a bit of a hook that has developed with that particular storm. All right, let's go ahead and go back to our tornado warning in Henry County. So let's see. The latest update. So we now don't have confirmation, so it might not be on the ground anymore. So that, of course, is good news. In fact, I believe, yes, the tornado warning for Henry County has now been canceled. And as we see, we no longer have that hook that we did have previously on the radar. And if we go to the velocities, we no longer have any rotation. So here's Clinton right here. This is the area that we were watching just a few moments ago. I want to back this up. Let's see. That's where it was, right there. So it started right over here and then it moved towards the northeast, kind of along the highway, and then it stopped just to likely lift it just to the southwest of Calhoun. And so there it was. It actually tracked a little bit further to the north, so it had a bit of north movement to it for a moment, but it started just to the southwest of Clinton, likely moved over Clinton, and then moved just to the northeast of there. So that is what we're dealing with. So again, so that tornado warning will soon be expiring for Henry and Pettis County as we are no longer, well, we've still got a little bit of rotation in there, or that was from a few frames ago. Currently, yeah, we don't have any more rotation across that area. A little bit of broad rotation, but nothing significant with that particular warning at this point in time. So that is definitely good news. So again, that tornado warning for Henry and Pettis County will soon be expiring, but there was very likely a tornado on the ground for a few minutes there in Henry County around the Clinton, Missouri area. Again, that warning was scheduled to continue until 6:45, but it has now expired early. But we are still tracking that storm just to the south of that is still rotating. Severe thunderstorm warning until 7:15 for St. Clair and Vernon counties. Again, there is a tornado possible tag with this particular warning. So this goes for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So again, right here, just to the northeast of Taperville, west of Osceola, this is where we're looking at a little bit of rotation, but the main threats with this storm are going to be 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So again, when we go back to the velocities here, a little bit of rotation in there, but nothing too significant at this point in time. We're pretty confident that this is not on the ground, but we'll still have to watch it to see if it does strengthen, because if it does, this would likely be upgraded to a tornado warning. But at this point in time, we don't have any reason to believe that that's going to happen. All right, so again, the tornado warning has expired, so there it is. But we do still have some heavy rain that's moving through that area along US 65, just to the east of Windsor, to the south of Sedalia. Additional showers further towards the east over Versailles right now. We're seeing some storms, as well as into Burnett, but none of these are severe at this point in time. Also, some raindrops have now moved into Columbia. And then a couple of other storms ongoing around the Lee Summit area and Blue Springs. But currently, those storms have recently developed, but they are currently not warned at this point in time. The storms to our north along US 36, those are severe warned at this point in time. That goes for the Chillicothe area. Chillicothe currently under a warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds and half-dollar size hail. All right, let's go ahead and see if we have anything new. So currently right now we have two active warnings across the area. We've got the St. Clair Vernon severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag that goes until 6:45, and then we've got that warning across Jasper as well as Barton County until 7:15 for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So nothing too significant at this point in time. Our strongest storm that we're watching is still that one right now in St. Clair County to the west of Osceola. We're just still trying to get an idea of whether or not that storm is going to rotate, and at this point in time, it doesn't look like we're going to see that happen. All right, well, we are going to move into another brief intermission. All right, and we are back after our brief intermission here. This is GWP Live Severe Weather Coverage here on Wednesday, April 15th, 2026, and we are still tracking some of the ongoing severe storms across our local viewing area here in the state of Missouri. So we've been tracking, we've had multiple severe warnings, couple of tornado warnings as well. The tornado warning that we did have there around the Clinton area has now expired, so that, of course, was some good news. But again, there was a confirmed tornado for a brief time around Clinton, Missouri. Now that storm has weakened below severe limits and is moving just to the south of Sedalia along US 65. We're still watching that storm around just to the northwest of Osceola across this area. So let's go ahead and show you the latest on that warning here. So not a whole lot of new information at this point in time, but we do know that at 6:09 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located over Shell City, 9 miles north of El Dorado Springs, moving east at 40. So again, we still have a warning till 7:15 for St. Clair and Vernon counties. Radar indicated threat. Hail damage to vehicles is expected. Locations would include Truman Lake, Appleton City, Osceola, Lowry City, Shell City, Johnson City. So those are the areas that are in line for this particular severe thunderstorm warning. But there has also been a tornado possible tag because as the storm has moved through St. Clair County, there has been just a little bit of rotation on the velocities, and that's becoming a strong. Okay, yes. And so, just kind of what I was anticipating, we now have a tornado warning that has been issued for this storm. Yeah, we have a new tornado warning that was just issued, including Lowry City and Osceola. Let's get the newest information here. So, tornado warning was issued for St. Clair County in Missouri. This does not include Vernon County. The storm has now moved out of the Vernon County area, but radar indicated threat, so no confirmed tornado yet, but we're still watching the storm very closely. So the National Weather Service in Springfield has issued a tornado warning for St. Clair County until 7:15. At 6:31 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Lowry City, or 18 miles northeast of El Dorado Springs, moving towards the east at 40 miles per hour. Hazards with this one include tornado, of course, and then quarter-size hail. Again, this is just a radar indicated threat as we have some rotations that has been appearing there on the velocity. Locations that are under this tornado warning include Truman Lake, Osceola, Lowry City, Harper, Iconium, and Monogoff Springs. Take cover now. Move to a basement or interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you are outdoors or in a mobile home or a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. So again, mobile homes, cars, workspaces like sheds, obviously like a golf cart, none of those are safe places to be. So you'll want to take shelter in the nearest just space that you can find as quickly as possible. Also, if you're out on the roadways, one of the things that we try to emphasize as much as we can is do not go under an overpass. An overpass is one of the most dangerous places you can go during a tornadic storm. So if you are under this warning in St. Clair County, if you're out on the road, let's say maybe you're on State Highway 13, which is right here. If you're on State Highway 13, do not take shelter under an underpass or an overpass. That's not what we recommend doing. So pull over to the side if you have to, if you can outrun the storm. I mean, we don't necessarily recommend that, but if you know of a path that avoids the path of the storm, then that's definitely what's going to be your best option here. And again, the area that we're most concerned about, let's go ahead and let's change colors so you can actually see what we're circling here. So this is kind of the area that I would be most concerned about with the rotation. Really moving into Jackson. It's going to go just to the south of Lowry City because, again, there's that rotation. So it's going to be moving through the Lowry City area very soon. So again, a little bit of a rotation in the atmosphere. This is not confirmed, but there is some rotation on the velocities just to the west of Highway 13. So we're going to be watching that very closely as, again, tornado warning remains in effect until 7:15 p.m. Of course, the good news with this storm is we still don't have any confirmation of a tornado, but again, there could be with this storm. And so that's really what matters in that situation. So again, severe thunderstorm warning and a tornado warning remain in effect across St. Clair County as that rotation has definitely been strengthening just a little bit as it's been approaching Highway 13, State Highway 13, along Lowry City to Osceola in St. Clair County. So again, take shelter immediately if you're in the path of this particular warning. So let's see, we just got a new scan on the radar. So let's go ahead and go to velocities and a little bit of tightening with that couplet. Not a huge change, but a little bit of tightening with that couplet. So this storm is likely passing over Highway 13 as we speak and is likely moving just to the south of Lowry City. But it's going to continue to move towards the northeast, more kind of, I guess, I would say in that direction, kind of. So northeast, east, but also kind of pointed towards the north slightly as well. So that kind of area is going to be at risk. Jackson, Iconium, you are in the path. And then here's the Harry Truman Reservoir on the northeastern side of St. Clair County. So you also need to be ready because you are under this tornado warning as well that remains in effect until 7:15. We've also had a new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued just to the southeast of that tornado warning. This goes in effect for Bolivar, Missouri. There's Bolivar. So if you go further to the south of Missouri State Highway 13, we've got that ongoing. Let's go ahead and get the latest on this warning here. This goes for Hickory, Dallas, and Polk counties. Severe thunderstorm warning until 7:15 at 6:28 p.m. A severe thunderstorm is located near Fairplay or near Bolivar, moving to the northeast 55 miles per hour. Hazards include 60 miles per hour winds and then half-dollar size hail. This is a radar indicated threat. Hail damage to vehicles is expected. Locations impacted include Bolivar, Lake Pontchartrain, Stockton Lake, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Missouri, Polk, Fairplay, Urbana, Morrisville, Halfway, Lewisburg, Aldridge, and then into Goodson as well. So again, make sure that you take shelter if you are under that warning. That is a severe thunderstorm warning across the Bolivar area, extending just towards Lewisburg, and then Urbana, and then Buffalo is the storm is just to the west of Buffalo. Buffalo is along US 65. Bolivar is along Missouri State Highway 13. So anywhere between Missouri 13 and US 65 in those counties, that's where we're under the severe thunderstorm warning until 7:15 p.m. And so we're going to be watching that closely as we go forward in time. All right, let's go ahead and get the latest on our other severe thunderstorm warning that we're tracking. This goes for Barton and Jasper counties, closer to the Joplin area. This goes in effect until 7:15 at 6:37 p.m. A severe thunderstorm was located over Carthage, moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. Hazards include 60 mile per hour wind gusts and a quarter size hail. This is a radar indicated threat, but there is now a tornado possible tag with this severe thunderstorm warning. So that was one of the biggest updates that we just had. So make sure that you're aware of that. We're going to look at that in just a moment. But the tornado possible tag warning is for Joplin, Carthage, Webb City, Carl Junction, Lamar, Oronogo, Carterville, Duquesne, Sarcoxie, Duneweg, Jasper, Golden City, Airport Drive, as well as Nashville, as well as Ashbury and Neck City. This goes along mile markers 10 to mile markers 32 on Interstate 44, and it also covers a good portion of Interstate 49 as well. But again, there is now a tornado possible tag with this severe thunderstorm warning, and let's see. All right, sorry about that disconnection that we had just there, but we are back here still tracking that storm here in Jasper County. Let's see if we have anything on the velocities. It might help to be at the right station here. And let's see, nothing's really sticking out at this point in time on velocity. Let's check out the other. Let's look at a little too cluttery on that one. So yeah, we're not getting a super great scan of the radar at this point in time. Maybe somewhere in, let's see. I would say the reason they're probably saying this is a tornado possible tag is, let's see, we've got a little bit of a hook right here, just to the east of Carthage, west of Avila. Let's compare that now to the velocities. All right, so a little bit of rotation in there just to the east of Carthage. Right in there, it looks like we've got a little bit of rotation. Definitely not strong enough to where I think this is on the ground, but we could have a funnel cloud that's starting to develop kind of in that area right here. But nonetheless, definitely some heavy rain and some gusty winds in association with this particular warning. So 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail is going to be possible. And again, there is even a tornado possible tag with that particular warning, with the possible funnel cloud or tornado being just east of Carthage, just to the west of Avila. And that's going to continue moving along State Highway 96. All right, let's go ahead and get an update on our tornado warning across St. Clair County in Missouri. So let's see what we have on this one. This is near the Lowry City area. So there's where the storm that we're tracking, just to the north of Osceola, is where we have our tornado warning. Let's see if we have any new information. So nothing new at this point in time. At 6:38, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Lowry City, 18 miles south of Clinton, moving east at 40 miles per hour. So again, this is a radar indicated rotation. Nothing has been confirmed on the ground, but possibly just to the, looks like we've got maybe a couple of areas of rotation in there. Yeah, a couple areas that we're watching. One to the north of Osceola along Highway, let's see, this is Missouri Highway 13. So yeah, this is Missouri State Highway 13. So we've got a little bit of rotation to the north of Osceola, and then we've got maybe another rotation just to the east of Lowry City as well. But I would say the main rotation is north of Osceola. That's the one that we need to be most concerned about. This one right here. So again, tornado warning remains in effect for that area until 7:15. And then we've got an additional severe thunderstorm warning that goes for Bolivar for 60-mile-per-hour winds and half-dollar size hail. That's a radar indicated threat. Hickory, Dallas, and Polk counties are under that warning, and that again goes from Bolivar all the way over to Lewisburg, Urbana, and Buffalo, just to the north of Springfield, is where we have that warning. And then along Interstate 49, we still do have another severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect for Jasper and Barton counties, so we're still tracking that one, where 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail, and again, there is still a possible tornado with that storm. So a tornado possible tag for the storm that is in Jasper and Barton counties. So tornado possible, the eastern side of Joplin is where we're concerned about with that possible tornado. Is the latest rotation. Again, there was a little bit of rotation just to the west of Avila along State Highway 96. So we're going to be watching that very closely here. Yes, that is what we're looking at here. So we've got three different storms that we're tracking. One of them is a tornado warning, two of them is a severe thunderstorm warning, but one of those severe thunderstorm warnings does have a tornado possible tag with it. All right, let's go ahead and since we don't have any new warnings or new information at this point in time, let's go to a few other things here that we're tracking. We got some storms in San Angelo, Texas, so western Texas getting involved here. Quite a few storms just to the west of the Fort Worth, Dallas metro area. A new severe thunderstorm watch was issued across this area. Let's pull that up. There it is. So this pink area is under a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 p.m. this evening. This watch does not include Fort Worth and Dallas, but again, we will be looking at some of those storms to the west of Fort Worth and Dallas across that region. All right, so we also have severe thunder or a warning ongoing across just to the east of Wichita Falls. We've got some warnings there that we're watching. Pretty big storm in southern Oklahoma around Ardmore there. So a few thunderstorms in southern Oklahoma have started developing. None of those are severe. We did have a severe thunderstorm in northwestern Arkansas around the Springdale and Rogers area. That storm has now weakened below severe limit, so that was kind of on an individual cell that we were tracking. And then we are starting to see some additional storm development across northeastern Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas. And so this is a perfect example of when the environment is favorable, it can stay favorable for several hours, even if we get severe storms. Just because one severe thunderstorm moves through, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody is completely in the clear. There are still tornado watches across this region, and the reason why is because, again, additional storm development is beginning to happen across this area as the environment was still able to recover enough for new storms to develop. Like we have this one storm west of Bartlesville that we're looking at some 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail with. So that's what we're watching. We've got the warnings that we've already showed you here across Missouri. We'll give you an update on those in a moment. And then along US 36, north of our viewing area, we've got a couple of storms around the Chillicothe area. Those are starting to weaken quite a bit, but still something we're tracking. Southern Iowa, there's been quite a bit of storm development. We're also going to have to watch just to the west of Des Moines as we've had some new storm development that has taken place across that area. This is actually outside of the area that's under that watch, but we'll still keep an eye out for that. We got some flash flooding concerns across eastern Iowa. So, again, lots of rainfall. We've also had lots of rainfall throughout the rest of this week. I mean, this area has just been hit day after day after day with severe thunderstorms and heavy rainfall. So, not a big surprise that we have those flash flood warnings in effect across eastern Iowa. And then along the Illinois and Wisconsin border, we do have an ongoing tornado warning. So we're still watching that, even as far north as Wisconsin there, where the flooding, again, has just been relentless across this area. We have had some showers, a few rumbles of thunder across Illinois and Indiana. Nothing bad here that we got to deal with, but we have been dealing with some severe storms across Pennsylvania, Buffalo. It's a pretty strong storm moving through Buffalo right now, so likely seeing some impacts there at the airport. Just curious here, what do we got here? 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So this warning goes until 7 o'clock our time. That's 8 o'clock on the East Coast. So yeah, quite a few storms that we're dealing with. Even into southern New York, we've got a few storms. Northeastern Pennsylvania and northwestern rather Pennsylvania and northeastern Ohio dealing with a few severe storms as well. So from Texas to Oklahoma, from Missouri to Kansas, from Iowa to Wisconsin, all the way into Pennsylvania and New York, we have got the ongoing severe storms across the region. We've even got a couple of tornado warnings scattered about. We currently have 19 severe thunderstorm warnings, 3 tornado warnings, and 3 flash flood warnings. So that is the current number of alerts that we have here across the country. And again, a few of those are in our local viewing area, and so that's why we're still here on the live stream. All right, let's go ahead and go back to looking at our storms that we have locally. So nothing too bad going on in our northern counties, just some light showers around US 50. Sedalia has been pretty good so far, and it appears that we just had a new tornado watch that has been issued. Let's see. Okay, this was the old map. I'm gonna reload it here. And I'm not seeing anything yet. There it is. Okay, so the rest of our viewing area is now under a tornado watch. That goes for Columbia, Jefferson City, Osage Beach, Lake of the Ozarks, Sedalia. Pretty much anywhere that wasn't under a tornado watch before is now under one. So, so that is something that that we will be watching here. So again, new tornado watch was just issued across central and eastern Missouri. This goes in effect until midnight tonight. And there's a whole bunch of counties, and I'm not going to list off all of those counties because, well, That would be a lot for y'all to listen to when you can just look at it here on the screen. So if you're highlighted in yellow, you're under a tornado watch until midnight tonight. Again, this is a brand new tornado watch that has been issued. Again, the big difference between a watch and a warning is a watch is a regional alert that is alerting you of the possibility of storms that could turn into tornadoes, or a warning is an immediate action. That means that there is potentially a tornado on the ground where you're at. A watch is a regional thing. It does not mean that there's an immediate threat. So if you're like, wow, that's a lot of areas that are under an immediate threat, it's not an immediate threat. So just remember that. Tornado watch means it's a regional area that might see tornadic activity in the coming hours. So just keep that in mind here if you are looking at this map and becoming really overwhelmed, because that would be overwhelming if you thought that there was an immediate risk, but we don't have an immediate risk across this entire area. All right, some good news to report. Tornado watches in Kansas City have expired. So Kansas City, your watch was supposed to go until 9 o'clock. Storms have already moved through. The environment is stable in Kansas City. The watch has expired. So Cass County, Jackson County, Johnson County, Bates County, you are all good to go. Your severe weather threat is over. So this area of our viewing area, you are done for the evening. No more severe storms. Again, you might still have a few showers, maybe a couple rumbles of thunder, but nothing severe across these areas. But if you are under these tornado watches, including this one that has not popped up on this map yet, then you still need to wait around because additional storm development is going to be expected, and that's what we're going to be tracking here on our ongoing live stream. All right, we're about to go to an intermission before we go to the top of the hour. So before we go to that intermission, we're going to go ahead and update you on some of the active warnings that we have. Let's start. Okay. Yes, we just had a new severe thunderstorm warning issued. This goes for Dade and Lawrence County. It's right here. It just hasn't popped up yet. So severe thunderstorm warning for Lawrence and Dade counties until 7:30 p.m. At 6:47 p.m., severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from 6 miles north of Greenfield to near Lockwood to 7 miles east of Carthage, moving east at 45 miles per hour. Primary hazards are 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. This is a radar-indicated threat. We do not have a tornado possible tag. There was one with this warning, and there still is, but this one there is not a tornado possible tag with, so that is definitely really good. We do still have a severe thunderstorm warning out for the Bolivar area until 7:15. That goes for Hickory, Dallas, and Polk counties till 7:15. As we mentioned there, and then we just got an extension on this warning, but it's now a severe thunderstorm warning instead of a tornado warning. So that is really good. So let's go ahead and get the latest on this. So we do still have that tornado warning for St. Clair County until 7:15 p.m. Radar indicated rotation. But again, as of recently, so we've still got a little bit of rotation in there just to the northeast of Osceola. So this is between Missouri State Highway 13 and US 65. Right in there, that's where we have our couplet. Let's go ahead and circle it. So that is our area of rotation that we have on the velocities. So this area right here, we could be experiencing a tornado. We still have that tornado warning that remains in effect until 7:15. And now we have seen an extension of the warning, except now it's a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's go ahead and get the latest on that. This covers US 65. So severe thunderstorm warning for Benton and St. Clair counties in Missouri until 7:30. At 6:52 p.m., severe thunderstorms were located 7 miles northeast of Osceola or 14 miles southwest of Warsaw, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. The primary hazard is going to be 60-mile-per-hour winds. This is a radar-indicated threat. Again, there is still a little bit of broad rotation from the velocities that we're seeing, and so for that reason, the tornado possible tag has been put on the severe thunderstorm warning. So again, it's very unlikely that this is a tornado, but it is still possible, and so that's why there is a tornado possible tag with this newly issued warning for Benton and St. Clair counties. Again, that goes until 7:30, and it does include parts of US 65 just to the north of Cross Timbers, going up to Warsaw along US 65. And then to the south of that, US 65 is under another severe thunderstorm warning. And again, that one also goes for the Bolivar area for Dallas, Hickory, and Polk counties till 7:15. And then we've still got the ongoing warnings along US 160 that stretch back to Interstate 49 with a flash flood warning across Barton and Jasper counties as well from some of the ongoing heavy rain that we've seen across that area. All right, well, that's all the latest that we have so far. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move into our next intermission. We will be back here just after the top of the hour. Welcome back to our continuing live coverage here on GWP Live of the ongoing severe weather across our region. We've still got multiple active tornado and severe thunderstorm warnings that remain in effect across southwestern and central Missouri. So we're still timing it out here on our live stream. It is now the top of the hour. It is 7:02 p.m. Central Daylight Time, and we're here to give you another update on everything that is going on across the region right now. So we'll start with the most pressing concern, which of course is the ongoing tornado warning in St. Clair counties. Let's go ahead and get the latest on that. So The latest is that at 6:38 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Lowry City, or 18 miles south of Clinton, moving east at 40 miles per hour. So this is a radar indicated rotation. Based on the latest position, it looks like that we are just southwest of the Jackson area. So Jackson, Missouri, that's where we're currently looking at here. And let's see, we should have a new scan here of the radar, but we seem to be running into some technical issues with that. So we'll try to get that as soon as we can here. I don't really want to look at velocities because, well, that would be a little bit outdated because that was about 10 minutes ago. So we'll still watch for that. But we do have a severe thunderstorm warning, a downstream warning that goes in effect for the Warsaw area. This goes for Benton and St. Clair counties until 7:30. 60-mile-per-hour winds is going to be the main concern. But again, we do have a tornado possible tag. And the reason why is because, again, we still have a little bit of rotation on the southern end of that storm that we're going to have to watch very closely. Then we've got some ongoing storms here just to the south of that. We've had a storm that just went through the Bolivar area. Now it's starting to move into Urbana and Lewisburg. This is along US 65 to the north of the Springfield area. This warning goes out for Hickory, Dallas, and Polk counties until 7:15. So, okay, and we actually just had an extension on this warning. So we now have a new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued to the east of Bolivar. Now this one goes for Buffalo and it goes all the way into just west of Lebanon. So this is the area. Let's do this right here. This is the area that's under a new severe thunderstorm warning. Hasn't quite popped up yet here on the radar, but we've got Dallas, Laceda, and Polk and Camden counties under a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:45 p.m. At 6:59 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Buffalo, moving east at 35 miles per hour. Hazards include 60-mile-per-hour winds and some small hail. The small hail is non-severe. Expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees with the winds. This includes Interstate 44 near mile marker 113. So that's kind of so the warning goes just to the interstate. That's the reason why it is not popping up there. So let's go ahead and show you this area that's under the new warning. So it's moving just to the east. Locations impacted include Lake of the Ozarks, Bennett Spring States Park, Ha Ha Tonka State Park, Camdenton, Buffalo, Urbana, Bennett Springs, Lewisburg, Eldridge, Roach, Branch, and Long Lane and Pumpkin Center are under this new severe thunderstorm warning until 7:45. So it's recommended that you take shelter in a very sturdy structure as 60-mile-per-hour winds could move into your area very soon and cause damage. This is just on the south side of US 54. Again, just to the south of Camdenton is where we have this severe thunderstorm warning, and then it stretches to just west of Lebanon. This new warning goes until 7:45 for the areas that we have just outlined. Okay, and we do have that new scan of the radar. So there's the new warning right there. So again, it goes into Camdenton, just south of Max Creek here. Here's Wabalo, Wheatland, and Hermitage. You're all good. US 54 is pretty good until you get to Camdenton and Max Creek. That's where we're currently experiencing the south, or we're on the south end, or I guess we're on the north end of the storm because we're on the south end of it. So, but yeah, so we're good, right? Like most of US 54 is actually doing very good, all things considering, because we have our storm that's been moving through St. Clair counties to our north. Then we have US 54 right here, and then all of our storms have really been to the south of 54. So that's good for those areas along the highway, but south of the highway, that's where we're dealing with this ongoing warning. Okay, so some new information. The tornado warning that did go until 7:15 has now expired. So the St. Clair tornado warning has now or will expire at 7:15. Okay, so it will not, so this tornado warning will not be extended. That storm has weakened significantly within the last 20 or 30 minutes. So this storm around Harriet or around the Harry the Harriet's Truman Reservoir around Jackson, Missouri, that storm has now weakened below severe limits, and our tornado threat has now gone away for St. Clair County. So we're no longer looking at a tornado threat with that storm. All right, so then we've got some ongoing storms to the east of Joplin, east of Interstate 49. So let's go ahead and look at some of these warnings here. We'll start with this one towards the west, right here, across eastern Barton and Jasper counties. Let's look at that one first. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for, again, Barton and Jasper counties until 7:15. At 6:45, a severe thunderstorm was located 7 miles northeast of Carthage, moving east at 40 miles per hour. Hazards include 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. Hail damage to vehicles is expected, wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Locations impacted include Carthage, Lamar, Jasper, Golden City, Avila, Maple Grove, and Boston. So those areas are under a severe thunderstorm warning. There's also still a tornado possible tag with this storm. So again, that storm continues until 7:15. It will soon be moving out of the warned area, but for the next 5 or 6 minutes, stay prepared because 60-mile-per-hour winds and some quarter-size hail will be possible. Those storms have kind of backbuilt a little bit closer to Joplin. So along Interstate 44, we're still getting some activity just to the north of Interstate 44 along the Joplin area where we've got some heavy showers and storms across that region. And then again, we have seen some additional redevelopment of thunderstorms across southeastern Kansas. So we are going to have to watch this very closely. Some of the areas that are being impacted right now by severe weather may very well be impacted again later tonight if these storms are able to strengthen. So that is something that we're going to be watching. In fact, we just had a severe thunderstorm warning issued for Labette and Neosho counties in Kansas. So we're seeing more thunderstorms develop exactly where we saw them begin in the first place. So severe thunderstorm warning till 7:30 p.m. for those areas for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So again, just because you've already seen a round of thunderstorms doesn't mean you're entirely out of the woods just yet, because again, we've got storms that are back building, and so that has led to areas that have already been impacted being impacted potentially a second time. And the problem with that is that means that areas that have already seen lots of heavy rainfall are going to get more rainfall, and then that's going to make the flooding situation even worse. So that is something that we are going to be concerned about here over the next several hours. All right, remember that a tornado watch does remain in effect across our western counties until 9 p.m., and then our central and eastern counties are under the watch until midnight. So again, it all depends on your location as far as when your severe weather threat will be over. But again, most areas should be done with severe weather by about 10 or 11 o'clock this evening, which, considering that we've had severe storms after midnight the last 2 nights, it's really not that bad overall as far as timing of these storms. So looking at the SPC's outlook, so this was updated as of, let's see here. This was updated a few hours ago, it looks like. About 4 hours ago, we got an update from the Storm Prediction Center, and they put the state of Missouri, our viewing area, under that 5% category. So again, it's not a huge risk for tornadoes, but it is a little bit higher than what we've seen so far this year. We are under an intensity 1 scale, which means that we have a risk for EF2 tornadoes or stronger across the state of Missouri for today. Wind, of course, that hasn't been as big of a concern as it was, let's say, Monday night. Monday night, the main threat was wind. Wind has not really been our big concern. Our big threat today has been hail. We've seen some really big hail. We've already seen some golf ball size hail reported multiple times across the viewing area. We've had half-dollar size hail. We've had ping pong ball size hail, quarter size hail. So again, lots of hail has been reported so far today. And then again, as far as tornadoes go, we have had a couple of isolated tornadoes as well. In fact, let's go ahead and see what we've got on our storm reports. Yeah, so we've had one tornado report out of Henry County, Missouri. That was about an hour ago, and that was in Clinton. Clinton, Missouri was our first tornado that we had confirmed, and that's really the only tornado that we've had nationally so far today. So, of course, that is good, but not as good for those areas that have been impacted by those storms here. Again, we had some wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour up in Kansas earlier today. Recently, we've had some hail reports in Missouri that we've had. Like you'll notice, let's see here, some of the different reports here in Missouri. So this was in Missouri, some half-dollar size hail there. Some quarter size hail was reported in Independence, Missouri, which is just outside of Kansas City. So we had some big hail near Kansas City earlier today. So yeah, we've already been dealing with some hail, and then as far as power outages go, not too bad. We're sitting at 2,100 customers without power in the state of Missouri. So, all things considering how much rain and thunderstorms we've had today with all the wind and everything, with even a tornado in Clinton, Missouri. I mean, all of that considered, we're really not doing too bad on power outages. Nationally, we're at about 97,000 as we've had some additional severe storms in the Great Lakes and Northeast. That's part of the reason why we're dealing with some outages there. Not too sure why, or not entirely sure why we've got all those power outages in Washington. That's kind of a little bit confusing there. But anyways, that's what we're dealing with. So 97,000 customers without power, but again, the majority of them are not in the Central Plains, which is good when it comes to considering that we've had all of these storms that we've been dealing with. All right, let's go ahead and see. Go back to our alerts. So again, lots of flooding. This has been a really big concern across Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Wisconsin. So we're dealing with that. We've also been dealing with fire concerns out west. It's been very dry in western Kansas. Even though we've had all this rain in eastern Kansas, we've had all the dryness out there. So, red flag concerns on the west side of the dry line. That's where we're talking about relative humidity values are super low. So, there's not a whole lot of moisture. There's very strong winds out across this region. And so, that has led to some fire concerns across the Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas, Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, just a lot of areas getting involved in that. We've also had some strong winds out there as well. Then we've had some heavy snow out west in the mountains. So that was we definitely need all of that we can take across that area. So that's what we're dealing with out west. And then again, additional severe thunderstorms across Ohio, Pennsylvania, and even into New York as well. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. So lots of different things that are continuing to go on here across the country. It's not just the severe weather that we're dealing with here in Missouri, even though that is kind of our central focus on tonight's live stream. All right, let's go ahead and get an update. We did have a warning that just expired. The severe thunderstorm warning in Bolivar has now expired, so that is good news. That storm is weakened below severe limits, but we are still tracking this storm just to the east, or excuse me, just to the north of Buffalo, west of Lebanon. That warning is ongoing at this point in time. So let's go ahead and get the latest on that. So this goes for Dallas, Polk, Camden, and Lafayette counties there until 7:45. We're looking at 60-mile-per-hour winds and nickel-size hail. So that's what we're dealing with right there. Again, this warning has expired. Our tornado warning and our severe thunderstorm warning in St. Clair County have both expired as well. So this is expired, and then those are both expired. So now we're just down to these two or yes, this is also, so let me just draw it out for you here. So this severe thunderstorm warning has expired. This warning has expired. And those warnings have expired. So the only active warnings that we have is this one right here and this one. Those are the only two active severe thunderstorm warnings across the region at this point in time. So that is what we're tracking right now across the viewing area. All right, let's go ahead. That's the wrong thing. Yeah, so again, good news is that we have seen some weakening with the storms here across southwest Missouri. The bad news is they are starting to redevelop in Kansas, and so then we'll have to watch for those as we go forward in time. Lawrence and Dade County are still under that severe thunderstorm warning. That's this one. Again, those have expired. It's this one that we're tracking. This goes until 7:30 p.m. 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. That's radar indicated, and then this storm to the west of Lebanon, including Buffalo, goes for until 7:45 for hail or for winds as well. And then we haven't really talked about this as much, but again, the flood threat is going to be also present with us. Northern Jasper County and southern Barton County, you're under a flash flood warning until 11:45. That goes in effect for Barton and Jasper counties, as we've already picked up several inches of rainfall across that region. So, again, any of the low water crossings that you know typically flood, well, they likely are flooded at this point in time. So you'll want to make sure to avoid those routes if at all possible. That flash flood warning is a radar indicated threat, so we haven't had any reports of flooding, but we know that there's been heavy enough rainfall to where we could see flooding, or we might have. And so that warning goes until 11:45 this evening. So, again, we still have tornado watches across our western counties until 9 p.m. this evening. Our central and eastern counties watches go until midnight tonight. Again, the exceptions are Bates, Cass, and then Jackson counties. Those three counties are no longer under tornado watches. Our severe weather threat across that region has now dropped off for those areas. But anywhere else, you are still at risk for redeveloping storms. Again, as we've showed you, a few storms have strengthened across Kansas and Oklahoma. So we've seen some back building with some of these thunderstorms, new thunderstorms developing. And so those are the ones that we're going to have to watch for as we go over the next several hours here. All right, and it does look like we just got a new flash flood warning for really that same area, but it's just further to the east. So let's go ahead and look at that here. So again, lots of heavy rain from these storms here. So the area that's not highlighted, that's the original flash flood warning that we were just talking about. The new area that I've got highlighted is the new warning. This goes for Cedar, Dade, and Polk counties. Flash flood warning until 1:15 a.m. Wednesday morning. And so we've already seen a couple of inches of rainfall. Several more are expected to fall over the next few hours here. And so again, flash flooding is going to be the main concern on those roadways and those low water crossings, especially. So it's a radar indicated threat, but it remains in effect until 1:15 on, and I said Wednesday, I meant to say Thursday. We are currently in Wednesday. So 1:15 a.m. Thursday is when this warning expires. And so again, small creeks and streams, urban areas, highways, streets, and underpasses, as well as poor drainage and low-lying areas. Those are the areas that you want to avoid because, again, flooding could be possible across this area here. This doesn't, so locations impacted include Bolivar, Greenfield, Lockwood, Fairplay, Morrisville, Polk, Dadeville, halfway south Greenfield, as well as a few others that are less populated. Stockton Lake is also included in that, Stockton Lake Park, and then Lake Pontchartrain is also under that flash flood warning that has newly been issued for the area. All right, so additional rain and storms now starting to work their way into Camdenton, where we've got that severe thunderstorm warning, but we've also got some heavy rain across Osage Beach and into Lake of the Ozarks. Let's go ahead and we'll switch radars here. So yeah, some pretty heavy storms along US 54. So if you're traveling across that area, it's going to be a bit of a rough drive this evening from Max Creek all the way to Camdenton and then Osage Beach, Lake of the Ozarks. These are just showers and thunderstorms. None of these are actually severe at this point in time, but it could be a rough go of things if you're going to be along US 54 or if you're going to be um, on US 50 as well. So US 50, things could be a little bit rough out there, a few showers and storms. Then we've got some light to moderate rain falling across Columbia and really areas surrounding Columbia as well. So we've got Roachport, Boonville, under that, Jamestown. We've got some heavy rainfall right now in California. Rain is starting to move into Ashland as well, over to Holt Summit. So that's where the edge of the rain is. But none of these showers and storms are severe. You have to go further to the north, across northern Missouri, where we are dealing with some active storms that are severe at this point in time. All right, well, we are now going to move into our next brief intermission. We will return in just a few minutes here on GWP Live's severe weather coverage. Stay tuned. All right. And we are back here on GWP Live's severe weather coverage. It is Wednesday, April 15th, 2026, and we are still tracking some of the ongoing severe storms across the region here. We've still got two active severe thunderstorm warnings and two flash flood warnings. And well, you'll actually be able to make that one as the um, the one county or the warning that we had across Dade and Lawrence, that severe thunderstorm warning has now expired. And so now we are down to this severe thunderstorm warning just to the west of Lebanon. So we're still tracking this storm here that is ongoing for the next 13 minutes here. We've got Dallas, Laclede, and Camden counties under severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds until 7:45 p.m. So again, Lake of the Ozarks is under this warning. Camden, Buffalo, Urbana, Bennett Springs, Louisville, Eldridge. So those are the areas that are under this warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds. So we're going to continue to track that. Again, that continues until 7:30. So we'll go to the velocities and we'll see what sort of winds we're dealing with. So nothing's really standing out at this point in time. So that is definitely some good news. But either way, some very strong winds are still going to be possible in association with that storm here. Then we've got some lighter showers and activity further towards the north. Rain starting to build into Jefferson City and Columbia. So if we go out to a more regional standpoint, again, some light rain ongoing across central Missouri. We've got the severe thunderstorm warning on effect across that area. We've already had lots of heavy rainfall across this red area, so that has prompted these flash flood warnings that remain in effect. And we do still have a tornado watch across Kansas and Oklahoma into southwest Missouri because of additional storms that are beginning to develop. We've also seen some storms starting to develop across central Iowa. We'll have to see if these start to make their way further towards the south. If they do, they could make it here into Kansas City over to Columbia. So central and northern Missouri, we could be looking at additional storm development across that region as we go later into the overnight hours for tonight. But again, at this point in time, a lot of our severe warnings have expired. Like we did have a warning for that storm, but that has now expired as well. All right. Well, based on the fact that we don't really have any new development to mention, new developments here, we are going to go ahead and we're actually going to go ahead and end the live stream for the time being. If there is a reason to come back, then of course we will be here. But the window for severe weather is going to be closing at around 11 o'clock. So until 11 o'clock, it is possible that we could see additional severe thunderstorms. But at this point in time, because we have no updates, we are going to end our live